Hmm. Hmm. Alrighty. I think I'll have another Coca-Cola. Hmm. Woo. Hopefully that'll come into focus pretty quick, because that's a little blurry. Makes me think I'm having a bad, bad day. Okay. Good morning, Health Center. A couple of minutes early, that's okay. Seven, four, six pencils out. Okay, that's crazy. That's me. Just waiting for the others to get here. Ah, there we go. Morning. Haley, I see you've registered for next semester. It's one of the things I wanted to bring up. So you've already beat me to it. Next semester is now available in Colleague, and the only difference, you have the exact same section number. The course is 1302 this time, 443. And that applies to Wellman Union and Last Buddy, because I know Health Center doesn't do second semester till they're seniors. So that is what's coming up, okay? The other thing I want to talk to you about is course evaluations. And I'm going to go in, and I don't know if you've noticed that tab in your class for me, but over on the left-hand side, when you go down into, there's that line, and down here at the bottom it says course evaluation right above. Well, you don't have course messages. That's only for me to see. When you click on course evaluation, it says I don't have any, but if you're taking more than one online class, all of your classes will show up. It doesn't matter which class you're in. So you just go to My Course Evaluation, and any course that you have to do that's got on Blackboard, and you click on it, and you can go in and do your evaluations. I would appreciate it if you do them. It closes Friday, so that's the last time you can do a course evaluation. So that's just a little bit of business that's got to be taken care of. So course evaluations, that's where you can tell what you thought of this class, okay? Just as a heads up. And so, but it doesn't matter if you're taking this class or if you're taking history or if you're taking psychology or whatever. Once you go into one Blackboard course, you'll have access to all of the evaluations. And it really, because all courses are supposed to have a online component too, all right? So that is just business like that, so make sure you're getting registered. The other thing I want to talk about is what you have due Friday. On Friday, you have the rough outline. This is a required portion of that essay. This is a rough outline. It's worth 25 points. It's in this week, which is week 12. That means there's really only 3 weeks of, well, next week a class doesn't exist. None of y'all are going to come to class next week, are you? Right? Your schools aren't gonna be open, so you're not coming. I'll be here for the kids from SPC, because we do meet on Monday and Tuesday. So they get that advantage of an extra day. And we'll be working on their rough outlines with them. But for you guys, on the rough outline, there is a Word copy of it here in week 12. Open that up. And it's fine if you've handwritten yours. You do need to type it for me. Let's see. Was that it? No, it shouldn't be a P. That's the Word. Okay. When it opens up, obviously enable editing. My suggestion is before you do any typing, get rid of all the lines. Just delete them. Because the lines, because it's a Word document, you can't write on the lines. If it were a PDF and you had Adobe, you could do it. But I'd go ahead and get rid of all the lines, and that way you can fill it in, okay? But leave space. Obviously, you'll have to leave some space for yourself. And if you've ever worked in something that's got an outline in it, once you hit something, it'll stick in another letter. Just go back and it'll get rid of it. But I do want to talk a little bit about filling it out. I'm not asking you to have all of these reasons with all of the supporting detail. That's not the goal of that document. I'm trying to get you to come up with a first rough draft. I'm going to switch over to the document camera so I can explain a little bit better. So up here where it's asking for an opening, what are you going to do? Just tell a story about, I'm just going to use death penalty, okay? Tell a story about a horrible murder that's committed and how that, the convicted criminal. And then over here, the thesis, be sure you give me the thesis statement and don't use first person or second person. It needs to be stated as simply as possible. The death penalty should be abolished because it is not I'm going with it's abolished, I guess. The death penalty should be abolished because it is not a deterrent, it costs too much money, and it is not administered equitably. I haven't said I, me, my, you, or your in that. All I've said is the reader can tell that I'm saying I do not support the death penalty, and these are the 3 reasons. So when you get down to the first body paragraph, you give the topic. That is not a deterrent. Okay, I'm filling that in. Under supporting idea, it doesn't, all right, it helps if I could spell. Doesn't keep murders from happening. Okay, that's my first supporting idea. And then underneath that, where it says details, all you have to put is, not in quotation marks, the words article, title. You need to write in what the title of what the document you have that you've got that will support that point, which means it might be DP is not a deterrent. Now, don't make up titles like I am, deterrent. But that's what because I don't have anything handy. And so you don't have to have supporting idea 2, supporting idea 3, and details. If you've only got one supporting point for the fact that it's not a deterrent, that's acceptable. You're not writing 1,500 words. You've got a 600-word minimum, so you don't have to have multiple supports for each of your points. If you have a couple of supports, that's okay. That makes your paper stronger. But if you've got 5 supports for it's not a deterrent, but nothing about it costs too much money, then that's kind of an unbalanced argument. Okay? So, sorry, going back over here. So that's true for all of them. You've got multiple points, but you should have filled in B, C, 2, 3, 4. You should have all of the parts of here it is, the rest of the pages, sorry. You should have at least one supporting idea for each of the other ones. You need to have counter argument, something against it, and then a conclusion, rephrase thesis. So you don't have to fill out absolutely every single option on that rough outline, but you have to have at least one under each of the points, okay? Now, what's going to happen is today we're going to be talking about something else, but on Wednesday, if you are still having trouble finding sources for your papers, send me a course message, and I will find you a source. I'll find you one source. I'm not going to find you multiple sources, but if you're having troubles. But, you need to kind of tell me what you got and what you don't have, okay? So that's what's coming up. We talked about registration is open. If you like me as a teacher, your class section next semester would be it's 208 again, but it's 1302. Same time, same place. If you want somebody else, let me know who you get, and I'll tell you if you need to change. Okay. That means if they're super hard, okay?
Is there like another class, like
The-
time for this class?
Oh, yeah, I've got this at 9 and 10 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday. You'll be able to tell, it's gonna be I wrote them down and then, my section is 200 on Monday, Wednesday at 9, 202 at 10, this is 208 and 209, so I still have the same section number, so it's those early 200s. But when you see on Monday, Wednesday, it's 8 and 9, or when you see 8 and 9 and 9 and 10 o'clock, when it should be 8, 9:30, or 8, 9:45, that kind of odd thing that happens, that tells you, it'll tell you it's an ITB class too. But, you know, I'm in here, those are my times, and we keep it the same. We keep them the same because of the schools. We don't need to change their schedules in the middle. So, rough outlines due Friday for the schools, all right? Make sure you have it done. Remember, open up the document that's in Word and take out the lines. You guys have the advantage. On Tuesday, I'll be here. You bring in your rough outlines. You have until Tuesday to get them done. If you bring them to class, I will go over them with you, and you'll get the credit then. So, they have to turn theirs in by Friday because I'm not going to see them next week. But you guys can, you know, finish it Monday and come into class Tuesday and I'll look at it, unless you're going out of town. Georgetown, is that right? Fort Worth. See, I've got someone from Georgetown, another one. So you're probably heading home. So if you're heading home, you got to turn it in Friday. Yeah, that's just the sad facts of it, because it's like I'm treating you, because I'm not going to really count you absent on Tuesday.
So do I turn it in?
In Blackboard. In Blackboard. You've got till Friday to turn it in Blackboard. And again, like I was telling them, you need to delete the lines out of the rough outline. But it's right in this week, which is week 12. It's right underneath the actual document is where you can get a copy of it. It's right here. And then just turn it in underneath it in bright pink, okay? So that's all that I'm going to talk about today. What we're actually going to work on are 2 fun grammar, punctuation kind of things going on, which are dangling and misplaced modifiers, because I can. Okay. So, it looks like most of you took, a couple of you didn't. What's going to happen is you're going to force me to have to put password on it so that the kids can only take it during, I would give you guys the passwords and that, but they can only take it during class. That's the only time they would have access to it. I'm frustrated with that. But the other thing I want to show you is in course resources, what I went and did last week after class was I have put in, down at the course resources, has the tutoring. If you want to have somebody look at your paper online, please do it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., Monday through Thursday, and then it's all weekend. You can get it done. And that's tutor.com. There's grammar worksheets. But down here at the bottom, there's that sample works. The sample works cited that I created last week is in here. But I also have how to do a hanging indent in Word, how to quickly create a works cited, how to use Purdue citation generator for a website. And for some reason, we don't have the EBSCO one in. I'll make a note I need to put the EBSCO one in. I made videos of all of those. So how on EBSCO? EBSCO is the one where you have to tell it to give you MLA. So I show you how to take once you find the document, how to email it to yourself, and then when you do the email, how to select MLA. And once you've got it that way, once you get the citation in the email, it's correctly, you won't get the grayed out stuff. If you try to copy it from SPC, it'll come in with a gray highlight on it, okay? But I do have those videos, so put EBSCO in 208, okay. So now I want to talk about Grammar Bites. Actually, I have a PowerPoint. That's what I thought. I knew there was something. Let me go into, this is something that's kind of fun, misplaced and dangling modifiers. I started collecting my own, and then I thought, I'll just do a little PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint I actually created instead of found online. I'm like, so long as I give credit, I don't feel bad about using somebody else's work, I'll be honest. It makes it a little bit quicker for me. This is called misplaced modifiers, but it's also kind of, it's not dangling in the true sense, but it's mainly misplaced, okay? And part of the issue is that in English, we know what the sentence means, and we know what can happen and what can't happen, all right? So we don't realize that we've actually done something wrong. But in English, modifiers go next to the words they describe, which are adjectives. Adjectives and adverbs are describers, okay? And they're supposed to be near the words they describe. So when you don't have them near the right words, the sentence actually means something different. So, confusing sentences. So here we have a typical, and this will appeal to read. The man shot the deer with a gun. You know exactly what's going on in that sentence, don't you? Actually, you don't. Because in that sentence it says the man shot the deer with the gun. With the gun is a prepositional phrase. It's an adjective one, and it modifies the noun it's closest to, which is the deer. So the deer is holding the gun in that sentence. But we know as human beings that deers can't hold guns and shoot them. First off, they wouldn't even be able to get a license, right? Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Well, you've been spared me drawing this by hand on the board. That's what I used to do, and I thought that's ridiculous. So a few years ago, I went ahead and made it. So that's called a misplaced modifier. All right? It has to, adjectives and adverbs have to go near the words they're modifying. So that's the first one. And this one is called, this is Groucho Marx of the Marx Brothers, very much a male humored kind of comedy group, I would guess you would call them. One morning I shot an elephant in my pants. How he got into my pajamas, I'll never know, okay? Groucho Marx. So that's actually describing this. The elephant's wearing the man's pajamas. But because we know elephants don't wear pajamas, we don't think it's wrong when we see that. I had one, I'm grading the massive numbers of character analysis that I have from that big class, and I've seen a couple of misplaced modifiers, and I just kind of grin. They make me, I don't know, they make me laugh, So here's one, a misplaced modifier. Spitting out hot lava, my friend took photos as the volcano erupted. Spitting out hot lava, it modifies the things closest to it, his friend. So did you see the lava spitting out of his mouth? Okay. It should be, let's see. See, I'm trying to fix the sentence, and I've done it so much I've forgotten what I said. It should be, my friend took photos as the volcano erupted, spitting out hot lava, because that's what's spitting out the hot lava, not the person. Then we've got this one. This is a cute one. She saw a puppy and a kitten on the way to the store. On the way to the store, two prepositional phrases tells you what those puppy and kitten are doing. They're on their way to the store, not her. On the way to the store, she saw a puppy and a kitten. There's some better ones. I like this one, misplaced modifiers. We rented a boat from my friend with 2 motors. Your friend has 2 motors? I don't have an illustration for that one. I should probably come up with one. But that's what it is, with 2 motors, like the man shot the deer with the gun. Whatever that prepositional phrase is closest to is what it modifies. Here's another one. She nearly combed her hair for 10 minutes each night. Okay. You ready? You want me to show you nearly combing? This is nearly combing. In this instance, because it's near combed, nearly is an adverb, and because it's near combed, it's talking about the way in which she combed the hair, which means if you nearly comb something, you don't do it, right? So it should be, she combed her hair for nearly 10 minutes each night. See how the nearly is modifying the wrong word. So, and that's that. So now we're not stopping there. We're actually going to go in and look at, we're going to go into the textbook. Surprise, surprise. And I've already got it up. It's chapter 32 and chapter 33, something like that. But identify and correcting misplaced modifiers, okay? And, you know, I try to remember to write these down. What can I say? But it's the first one says, Logan couldn't drive to work in a sports car with a broken leg. Okay. With a broken leg, you can see after, what is it next to? It's the sports car. So the only sports car I know that could have a broken leg would be Lightning McQueen. Most of you have seen cars, I would go with that notion, right? I can count on you having seen movies when you were kids. Let me tell you, oh, by the way, next semester is literature-based. We only write one big paper. We do a couple of smaller projects. It's a lot easier. It's not his writing intent. We read literature and it's how to analyze literature. I thought I'd better throw that in. But one of the things that happens when you're talking about literature, you also talk about movies. It's hard to stay away from them. Okay? I'm not the only one with the dirty screen. Well, I was looking at mine, it's like, what do I eat on top of this screen or something sometimes? So, the sentence should be, with his broken leg, Logan couldn't drive to work in a sports car, okay? So how you identify and correct them. So we got that one. Here's the next one. The toaster was sold to us by a charming salesman with a money-back guarantee. That means that the salesman has the money-back guarantee. So it should be the toaster with a money-back guarantee was sold to us by the charming salesman. That's how you look for it. So he nearly brushed his teeth for 20 minutes every night. This is my grandkids. This is what kids do. You know, mom says, go brush your teeth, and you're in there and you're kind of like, you know, you've got the toothbrushes near your lips, but it's too much trouble, okay? So he brushed his teeth for nearly 20 minutes every night, okay? So here's an activity. We're just going to work through a few of them. And I apologize, I cannot say this sample sentence. Frozen shrimp lay in the steel pans that were thawing rapidly. That tells you that the pans are thawing rapidly. So it should be frozen shrimp that were thawing rapidly lay in the steel pans. This one's even better. The speaker discussed the problem of crowded prisons at the college. That sounds like a recipe for disaster if you have crowded prisons on a college campus. And sometimes the dorms may feel like that. I lived in them, I know. No, actually they're pretty good. Okay, so it would be, at college, the speaker discussed the problem of crowded prisons. All right, so now we've got some sample sentences. The patient talked about his childhood on the psychiatrist's couch. What that actually says is that the patient's childhood took place on the psychiatrist's couch. That's a poor little kid with a lot of problems, so it should be, the patient on the psychiatrist's couch talked about his childhood. The crowd watched the tennis players with swiveling heads. This would be this one. It would be Serena and Venus playing each other. And as they're playing, their heads are going like this, because that's where the swiveling heads are at. Anybody seen King Richard yet? Okay. I've got all these movies that come out now on Netflix and all that stuff that I've missed. I got to go see Shang-Chi. I heard it was pretty good. So, all right. So it should be the crowd. No, it should begin with swiveling heads, comma, the crowd watched the tennis players. That makes better sense. Vonnie put 4 hamburger patties on the counter, which she was cooking for dinner. What's she cooking for dinner? The counter. You can't cook the counter. Most people have tried. So Vonnie put the 4 hamburger patties, which she was cooking for dinner, on the counter. See, I don't want to put it by Vonnie. I have to put it by hamburger patties, because that's what's being described. Steve carefully hung the new suit that he would wear to his first job interview in the bedroom closet. Where is the interview happening? In the bedroom closet. Maybe it was by Zoom. I don't know, possibly. But Steve carefully hung the new suit that he would wear to, Steve carefully hung the new suit in the bedroom closet that he would wear to his first job interview, okay? The novel was about a pioneer family that Annie had borrowed from her cousin. She borrowed a pioneer family. That's kind of cool. The novel that Annie had borrowed from her cousin was about a pioneer family, okay? The latest Denzel Washington movie has almost opened in 2,200 theaters across the country. I'm really bad. When I grew up, I actually lived in Norfolk, Virginia, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. They say it with an R. It's not Washington, it's Washington. And so when I say that word, I put an R in it. And then I tend to read this as the late Denzel Washington, but he's not dead. So how can you almost open? That means you didn't open. So it should be the latest Denzel Washington movie has opened in almost 2,200 theaters across the country. It was actually 2,198. That's almost 2,200, right? To be cooked properly, the chef advised us to place the casserole in a preheated oven. So what's being cooked properly? The chef. The chef advised us to place the casserole in a preheated oven. To be cooked properly, the chef advised us to place the casserole in a preheated oven to be cooked properly. Now, I can't even get that one right. It's just one of those tough ones. The chef advised us to place the casserole to be cooked properly, to be cooked properly in a preheated oven. It's gotta come after casserole. Let's see, the tenants left town in a dilapidated old car owing 2 months' rent. The car doesn't owe the rent. Owing 2 months' rent, comma, the tenants left town in a dilapidated old car. The plan was to construct a church on an acre of land made of brick and stone. The land is not made of brick and stone. The plan was to construct a church made of brick and stone on an acre of land. So, you said Fort Worth or Dallas? Fort Worth. What high school?
Oviedo.
Okay. Oh, I've had somebody else from Oviedo. I discovered an unusual plant in the greenhouse that oozed of milky juice. The greenhouse is oozing the milky juice, so it should be, I discovered an unusual plant that oozed a milky juice in the greenhouse, okay? So, and hey, the good news is we're gonna get out of here early today, okay? So you'll have time, if you wanna stay and work on the rough outlines, you can do that. You guys can work on yours. I am gonna go into Grammar Bites, and they actually have a section on misplaced, and dangling modifiers, okay? Oh, let me go back in the textbook. I didn't do that. Sorry. Let's go over here. We're gonna talk about, dangling modifiers. Good, I'm not too far ahead of myself. Dangling modifiers. What happens is you're not sure what's being described. So when you look at this one, it says, when reading the newspaper, my dog sat with me on the steps. Okay, dogs don't read newspapers, so that can't be it. So it misleadingly states that the dog was reading the newspaper. So what you want to say is, while I was reading the newspaper, my dog sat with me on the steps. You have to have somebody else to do it. So a lot of times you can just put it into that, while I was reading, do something like that. And so here we've got that one. Let's go. Shaving in front of the steamy mirror, the razor nicked Eli's chin. That says, who's shaving? You don't know. So the subject, Eli, must be added. Shaving in front of the steamy mirror, Eli nicked his chin with the razor. See how it's slightly different. Or when Eli was shaving in front of the steamy mirror, he nicked his chin with the razor. While turning over the bacon, hot grease splashed my arm. Who was turning over the bacon? Caleb was turning over the bacon and the hot grease splashed my arm. See how you've got to say it. So while I was turning over the bacon, hot grease splashed my arm. Or while turning over the bacon, I was splashed. So there's a couple ways to do it. To impress the interviewer, punctuality is essential. Who is trying to impress the interviewer? To impress the interviewer, the interviewee must be punctual. Okay, so here's some more samples. When Eli was saying, okay, we don't need to do that one. And the tip they say is, in some cases, a subordinating word such as when must be added, and the verb may have to be changed. Place the subject right after the opening word group. Shaving in front of the steamy mirror, Eli nicked his chin. Okay. So here's an example. While pitching his tent, a snake bit Henry on the ankle. The snake was pitching the tent. While Henry was pitching his tent, a snake bit him on the ankle. Okay. Or while pitching his tent, Henry was bitten. Applying an ointment to the burn on my leg, the pain soon subsided. While I was applying an ointment to the burn on my leg, the pain soon subsided. Just by adding while I was applying at the beginning. Marching across the field, a distant river could be seen by the soldiers. The distant river is marching so. As the soldiers marched across the field, a distant river could be seen. I mean, it's easier for me to do it that way. Practicing relaxation techniques daily, stress can be relieved. You could say something like, I have been practicing relaxation techniques daily, so my stress can be relieved. Or practicing relaxation techniques daily, I can relieve my stress. It still means the same thing. But you have to make more changes. Oh, I like this one. Avoiding foods high in fat and calories, Paul's health drastically improved. Okay. I might go, Paul's health drastically improved by avoiding foods high in fat and calories. That might be how I would write that one. So be careful about starting sentences with the ing. You have to watch out for it. Lit by several floodlights, the audience was able to see the stage clearly. Since the stage was lit clearly by several floodlights, the audience was able to see. Running through the rain, the puddle soaked my pants. As I was running through the rain, the puddle soaked my pants. Crammed tightly in the elevator, the doors wouldn't close. We were crammed so tightly in the elevator that the doors wouldn't close. See how it just takes a little bit of modification. And I'm going to stop there on that, okay? So what I want to do is we're going to go into Grammar Bites. Okay, I just got a minute. Okay. All right, Grammar Bites, the one with the shark. So remember, this time it's only going to be A or B. So A is YMCA and B is across the chest, okay? And I'll just work my way through the schools. And maybe someday they'll be sound and will be truly interactive, okay? Exercises, there's lots of good ones in here. You can see fragments, parallel structure, misplaced and dangling modifiers. So they give us both. And this one is cool because this one has sound on it. If you get it right or wrong, you know exactly what happened, okay? So first exercise, recognizing misplaced and dangling modifiers. I hate this thing at the top. It drives me crazy. All right. So they give you an example. The waitress served Gilbert a plate of gray meatloaf sauced with lumpy gravy. Notice that sauce with lumpy gravy is a participle noun, follows meatloaf, it's target noun, okay? So if too much distance separates a modifier and its target, the modifier is misplaced. Modifiers always are descriptive words. Sauce with lumpy gravy, the waitress served Gilbert a plate of gray meatloaf. That means the waitress is sauced, which, by the way, sauce used to be a slang term for drunk. Drunk with lumpy gravy. Interesting. All right, so now we're going to go down here, and this guy got an apple. He's got a good fruit. Okay, start here. So sentence one, we'll just start with, Haley, we'll just start with you. I hope you can read it. Let me see if I can make it any bigger. Emma, no, it's too much, sorry. Particularly those of you, if you've got TVs in the back, you can look at those. Emma Sue was delighted when Professor Nugent returned her perfect calculus test with an ear-to-ear grin. So A says there is a misplaced or dangling modifier. B says it is error-free. So what do you think? Haley, you're saying that there is an error. And the error is going to be look for those prepositional phrases at the end where it says with an ear-to-ear grin modifies what's closest to it, which is the calculus test. Calculus tests don't have smiles on them, right? So you are right. Good job. So here we go. Come on. Where's the sound? It's not that juicy of a burger, is it? Okay. Now, the nice thing is if you get it wrong, it will give you an explanation. This is one of those. Very impressive. It tells you it's a prepositional phrase describing test, okay? So you go on to the next sentence. That's why I like Grammar Bites. So for so many of them, they give you explanation. So now we're going to do, let's do Woman Union. Scrubbing the tile grout with bleach and an old toothbrush, the mildew stains began to fade. Is there an error, which is A, or is there not an error, which is B? What do you think, Wellman? Yeah, turn around and look at the people behind you. What do they think? I see one hand waving in the air. Anything else? Is it A, yes, there's an error, or there is not? If I don't see arms moving, you're saying there's not an error. Okay, let's go check it. That's a little scary, isn't it? No. Now this leopard will use your thighs for a scratching post. That's pretty scary. Okay, let's look at that. The sentence did include a dangling modifier. So when you look in here, it says, scrubbing the tile grout with bleach and an old toothbrush, the mildew stains began to fade. The only thing that can be, there's nothing to tell you who's scrubbing. That's the problem. This is a dangling modifier. So to fix the problem, as Michael scrubbed the tile grout with bleach and an old toothbrush. So, okay? All right, let's go over to Health Center. You've got sentence 3. To finish by the 3 p.m. deadline, the computer keyboard sang with Sylvia's flying fingers. Yes, A would be, yes, it has an error. B is it's error-free. What do you think? Health Center. I'm seeing a couple, okay, they're saying, yes, there's an error. Let's go. Let me hear. Here, well, let's go. Do. Yes. Ah! And applause, all right? And we'll go back and look at that explanation if you weren't sure. You don't know who is doing, to finish by the 3 p.m. deadline, the computer keyboard. It can't be the one finishing it. So there has to be something, a human in there. So to finish by the 3 p.m. deadline, Sylvia made the keyboard sing with her flying fingers. And just as a heads up, now, in UIL there's computer applications. When I was in high school, it was a typing test. Okay, that's how old I am. They had typing tests. And you would be on, and that was the days of, you would have the big metal typewriter, and you would type like this, you had that carriage that would, as you typed, it would go this way. Okay, so you're typing, the text moves that way, but the carriage moves this way. So when you'd hear a little ding, and then you'd have to hit that, there was a metal lever on it, and you would have to hit it to push it back. Yeah. So much easier on computers. So much easier. All right, go to the next sentence. That's going to be for you two guys, okay? Sheila watched Desmond stuff his mouth with a cupcake frosted with vanilla icing. Yes, there's an error, or no, there's not an error. Sheila watched Desmond stuff his mouth with a cupcake frosted with vanilla icing. So all you got to worry about is that with a cupcake frosted with vanilla icing.
But it's just A or B.
It's just A or B. It either has an error or it doesn't have an error.
I'm saying A.
You're saying it has an error? What do you think, Reed?
I don't think so. I can't really tell.
You can't really tell. All right, so Caleb, you took the vote, so we're going to go. Now we've got the tiger's going to snack on your toes. That's not nearly as scaring as that panther. That's because the sentence did not include one. Because, yeah, but see, look at it. With a cupcake frosted with vanilla icing, he stuffed his mouth. What did he stuff his mouth with? A cupcake. That makes sense, okay? If there's no one to do it, that's when you have to watch out for it. That's okay. We're 50-50 right now. So we're going back to Haley. Let's see. Perched on the curtain rod, the parakeet watched Rocky the cat slink behind the living room sofa. A, there's an error. B, there's not an error. What do you think, Haley? Since I can only see her little head in the corner. You say there is an error? Okay. So look at perched on the curtain rod. That's what we have to deal with. Who or what is perched on the curtain rod? The parakeet. Can a parakeet perch on a curtain rod? Can a parakeet? Yeah. And then, okay, and the cat slink behind the living room sofa. So guess what, Haley? You were wrong. Okay. You get a bowl of chips. See? You get pretzels, Cheetos, and some Doritos, and they do not look appetizing at all, do they? Huh? Munchies, yeah. It's just, they're disgusting. It did not have a one, all right? So we'll go to the next sentence. So that goes to Woman Union. Groaning on rusty springs, the trampoline tossed the children like clothes in a dryer. What do you think? A, there's an error. B, there's no error. Are you guys moving? You're not, okay, just making sure somebody moved, that you're not frozen. That occasionally used to happen. The screen would freeze and you're like, they're not there. What do you think? Look at the first part. Groaning on rusty springs. Can a trampoline groan on rusty springs? Can a trampoline groan on rusty springs? Okay, so you're saying there is an error? Can a trampoline groan on rusty springs? Think about it. Anybody have a trampoline? You leave them outside. They get rained on, not here very often.
Oh, can they get rusty?
Yeah, can they get rusty? Yeah. Yeah, groaning on rusty springs. See? It wouldn't be, I was groaning on rusty springs, and then the trampoline, see how, okay, so do you see? There's no error. The trampoline tossed the children like clothes in a dryer. Ever got a group of kids on a trampoline and tried to pop each other up? Yeah, I do that with my grandkids still. So, see, I'll show you what happens if you say there is an error, it's gonna say wrong answer. Ooh. Why is it that the rhinoceros, the panther, and the tiger all have the same sound? It's kind of scary. So it did not have misplaced. All right, so we go to Hale Center, sentence 7. Wrapping the pencil on the edge of the desk, the fourth cause of the French Revolution would not come to mind. Sounds like somebody's taking a test to me. What do you think? A, I'm seeing jazz hands, that was D. I'm seeing an A in the back. How many A's have I got? Okay. It looks like I'm seeing, there's a C coming up there now. Don't mess with me like that. Come on, help me out. Okay. So you're saying, yes, there is an error? Is that consensus? Nod your heads if that's consensus. Oh, somebody put their thumb up. That was not helpful. Okay, all right, follow directions. Nod your heads if you think there's an error. Okay, so let's see. Whoa, chicken, fresh baked chocolate chip cookies as a reward. Of course they're virtual. There is an error. Let's go look at it. And if you look at the beginning, wrapping the pencil on the edge of the desk, the fourth cause of the French Revolution is not wrapping the pencil. Somebody has to wrap a pencil. The student was wrapping the pencil on the edge of the desk, but the fourth cause of the French Revolution would not come to mind. That's one way to fix it. Wrapping the pencil on the edge of the desk. Rodney, that's where Rodney is. He's taking a test over the French Revolution. Could not remember the fourth cause of the French Revolution. All right, SPC, you're up. Slathering the popcorn with melted butter, the calorie count skyrocketed. That is the best part about going to a movie. What do you think? Slathering the popcorn with melted butter, the calorie count skyrocketed. You're saying no, it's got an error? You think it's fine, you think it has an error? Tell him why. Tell him why you think you're right.
Because, it's not saying like who slathers the popcorn.
Could the calorie count slather the popcorn with melted butter? So it must be wrong. Okay. Way to give him the right answer. Hey, DLC, hold up the door if you want to answer. Okay. All right, sentence 9. We're going to do about 3 more and then we'll stop so everybody can go. Well, we'll do 2 more. We'll do 9 and 10 and stop. Okay, this goes back to Haley. Inserted in the group text reply, Charlotte included another selfie with eerie red eyes. Is there one in there? Hold on, let me look. Oh, I'd have to go into text message. What do you think? Yes, there's an error. No, there's not an error. What do you think, Haley? A or B? You're going B? There's no error? Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, alligators sound just like the rhino, which sounded like the tiger, which sounded like the panther. The alligator's going to bite. That is one scary animal. Okay. All right, the misplaced or inserted in the group text is describing Charlotte when its target should be selfie. When the modifier is next to a word, it doesn't logically describe it as misplaced. When Charlotte replied to the group text, she inserted another selfie with eerie red eyes. Okay, so the last one goes to Wellman Union. Hungry for dinner, the surface is where Gert the goldfish waited in anticipation of food flakes. Yes, it's correct. No. A is it's incorrect. It has an error. And B is it's correct. A or B? A wrong, B right. Hungry for dinner. The surface is where Gert the goldfish waited in anticipation of food flakes. Just look at the beginning. I'm seeing that's an A. Yes, there is an error. I'm not sure what you're doing on the front row. That's not an error. I see 2 A's. Let's go with, okay, let's just talk. Hungry for dinner. Has to modify the thing closest to it. The surface is hungry for dinner? No, it's Gert. Gert the goldfish, hungry for dinner, waited near the surface in anticipation of food flakes. See, I would write it all completely different, but that's me. Okay? So, congratulations, you scored these crispy onion rings for getting that right, okay? So, those are things to watch out for. I might wanna turn that sound down. So, that's all I've got for today. Work on your rough outlines on Thursday. If you need help finding sources, please, please, please send me a course message. Tell me specifically, you're gonna have to tell me what your topic is and where you can't, and what point you can't find information for. You have to give that to me. Don't just say, I haven't found anything. If you haven't found anything, how'd you do the summary and paraphrase? Okay? So, that's all I got. So you're out of here 9 minutes early. All right? Okay. What am I doing? Good question. Gotta go pick up stuff. All right, I need to put that EBSCO one in here. Let me do that real quick. I had to open up 6 more screens. I'm just now putting in that how to email yourself an article with the correct resource, with the correct citation is now in your course resources. I just put it in. Yeah, you've got everything you need now. How to do a hanging indent, how to quickly create a works cited, how to use the Purdue OWL citation generator for a website, and email an article with the correct citation. They're all in there now. Okay. Make sure it's in this one. I don't have it in that one. Okay. Need to put it in 209. There it is.
I'm saying, can you hear me?
You have a question? Hold on a second. Let me get over here. All right, I'll hover by the microphone. The speaker. Question?
I sent you a course message because it says I didn't turn in my summary paraphrase. Can you tell me if it says it from your end?
Okay. Take me a second to check it, okay? Let me finish what I'm doing here. Okay. Go back into your class. It's moving slowly. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. No, 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 no.
Your conference is scheduled to end in 2 minutes.
Hello and welcome to this tutorial on using Blackboard Collaborate.
I don't know where that came from. That was strange. Okay.